Okay, we're back. In spite of the very best efforts of Tracey Emin and her crowd, we're back. You may have noticed, I'm sure you did, probably threw your arms up in despair when the plug was pulled on us on the last interview, and that was clearly, I want to say, industrial sabotage, artistic sabotage by those who I so disparaged on the last section. They're clearly, they're good. They're good with technology. They're not, obviously, in their aversion of the paintbrush or the sculptor's chisel. They've got themselves very, very well entrenched in technological things, and so we're able to sort of sabotage these interviews. And that's what happened there last week. Anyway, we're suitably equipped this time to repulse any efforts of the Antony Gormleys or the Damien Hursts of this world to try and nobble me this time. We had been talking about horses and their ample merits, and I think we moved on to say perhaps not horses. One of the reasons being, well, there's two reasons actually, which I think deselects them in the, do you remember we said it's either horses or humans? They're the only ones with that auteur and that sort of artistic merit. But if you look at horses a bit more closely, and by goodness, I have looked at horses very closely, I'm dissatisfied with two things. The first thing is their absolute insanity. There's no other word for it. It is insanity. In the same way as a sectioned person is insane, so they should be sectioned. Frankly, these horses. I'll tell you for why. As you know, I get quite friendly with horses, and if I see a new horse on the block, or in the fields, I'll want to make friends. I want to befriend it, and I'll go towards it with a mien that says, here I am, I mean you no harm, and I'll proffer my hand like that to its nose. And I like doing that because the nose is soft and warm, and in every sense, quite sensuous and sensual. There's something about their little mouth and the hot breath coming out the nose, and but get too close and they will pull away like this, and they'll stare at me like this, like a mad person stares, and they're pulling their head further back, eyeballs still looking at you. What are you doing? Sort of attitude, and I find that, if I was to go up to a fellow and say good afternoon to you, sir, I would expect a warm welcome, or warm return greeting, and I expect nothing less from a horse really. They live in the lap of luxury over here, and I expect civility, if nothing else. So, and the other thing is, of course, moving on from their character, is their physical form. Now, I've waxed lyrical about their physical form before, but it's all rendered aesthetically void by their little tiny ankles. I mean, like that, just like that, And I see them galloping down the fields, the whole earth shaking with the thunderous gallop of a team of horses on the fields out there. And when they turn at the end of the field, expect to hear just snapping bones, snap, 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 snap. But it doesn't happen. But that's not the point. It looks like it could or would happen. From an artistic point of view, it doesn't really matter what's actually technically true. It's what looks right that matters. And the horse's legs, all this beautiful musculature on top of the horse's legs, makes the horse look wrong. So I think, we have to abandon the idea of horses. Love them as I do, but they can't take up years of my life just to make the whole thing look ridiculous by their silly little ankles. So we're back to the human being, and I think that's a good idea. I just got a few points here as to why I like the human being so much, and I just think when I'm contemplating the work about to be embarked upon. And by the way, I call that a mission now. I am being rather more heavily influenced by the lovely Helen Sharman than perhaps I should be. When she goes off on her little jaunts up into the cosmos, she calls that a mission. Apparently they all call it a mission when they're going up there. And, in the same way, I suppose she thinks, going up to get stuck into the dirty bastard Russians washing up is a bit of a mission, isn't it? Let's face it. And she calls it. So anyway, I call my work missions from now on. So that's, if you hear me say mission, that's what I'm talking about. I've gone astray. Oh yeah, so I have to think, is the human form going to keep me oh dear. I'm going to have to really be quick. Is the human form going to be enough to impassion me through the duration of a 7-year mission, let's say? And the answer is yes. But I don't know why. I need to clarify why. So I think, well, what is it about the human being that I find can keep the fire burning in the belly, or more specifically, let's face it, the fire burning in the groin? That's what is keeping the interest there, isn't it? And I asked myself, well, is it just imagine you just strip naked for me now. Strip naked for me. Just get stripped. Now, I'm looking at you. I'm beholding your wonderful form. What is it about you that I find so appealing? And well, let's look at your eyes. Could be your eyes, couldn't it? And this reminds me of a film I watched, thoroughly enjoyed. You may have seen it too. It's by the film was based on a book by a contemporary author. So those of you who read will probably know about the author. I don't know the name of the author. It's not a classical book. Anyway, it's called Chocolat, and in it there was this riparian pirate, rather than a seafaring pirate, and perhaps we should say gypsy actually. And he was proffered by this beautiful lady a chocolate she'd made specially for him, because she was a chocolatier, and she said, have this, taste this, it'll be your favourite. She prided herself on being able to produce a chocolate that was anyone's favourite. And he took it and ate it, and he was enraptured by this chocolate, and praised it to the heavens, but then said, but it's not my favourite. And the same with the eyes. I could praise the eyes for ad infinity, and but I would have to say it's still not my favourite. So what is it next? Well, clearly, you see what a sensuous mouth I have. I've talked about the horses' mouths. Mouths, is it the mouths? Those little rosebuds you sometimes get. Those rosebud mouths, or Catherine Zeta-Jones' mouth. That mouth that just at the edge here that just goes up again. Just like a little clown's little grin, and just fantastic. And to imagine the mouth. Deep kisses, deep warm kisses, deep loving kisses, and also the thought of the mouth, possibly Catherine's mouth, on the erogenous zones. So it really ought to be the mouth, shouldn't it? But it's not. It's not. So what could it be? Is it? Well, let's go further down. The neck. I mean, those who have been my lovers in the past will know that the neck is something that I go for every time, don't I? I'll get my nose in there and want to smell that scent of yours and feel the warmth. Get underneath the hair, just there, just under the ear on you, and so you're stripped there, still naked, stood there before me, and you can feel me loving your neck, can't you? And many of you out there will remember what that's like. But remember us. That's what I'm talking about. Anyways, let's take a slim little neck of a 15-year-old girl, let's say, like a little slim column which supports a little pedestal which supports this exquisite head of hers, in such a elegant fashion, or in a man, broad, powerful neck, which swivels the mighty martial head and the terrible gaze. It's beautiful, like a capital ship on a Second World War battleship, a battle cruiser, you know, mighty neck, 80-inch guns, you know, swiveled around by this mighty neck. So yeah, again, it is my, you know, it is a favourite, but it's not my favourite. So, and it's not my feet. Everyone goes, you know, I'll walk around and run around barefoot, but it's not. They're not erogenous zones. They're not erotic. So what could it be? Well, guys, you should be keeping up, really, shouldn't you? This whole set of interviews is called James and the Giant Peach. So we're going to leave it there, and we'll go on about the peach. Sorry, James and the Perfect Peach, not Giant Peach. We'll go on about the peach in the next interview. We've managed to get through without those rabble artists getting involved. Don't know why they call themselves artists, but getting involved. So we're okay, and I'll talk to you in a minute.